Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for coming. We have the great joy and pleasure and honor to have Yosef Zweig with us. Some of you may have already seen parts of what he's presenting, and I just am glad that I may introduce you to our audience. Yosef was born on the 22nd of June in 1976 in Haifa, born to a Christian Arab family as citizen of Israel. And his first steps as an actor he made on the Arabic Hebrew theater in Yafo. He was also to be seen in the Netflix series Unorthodox, which many of you may have seen. And he has, among a lot of other things, he has earned the Israeli Best Actor Award for his part in Night Therapist, a television series which I can only heartily recommend. Welcome. Thank you a lot. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Applause, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I introduce why we are two here, Gesine Palmer and me. You will now see in the play we could be friends of your friends. See later on. Gesine and I, Katrin Fisse, we both work here. And I studied Islamic studies and Gesine studied Jewish studies. So I learned Arabic and got to meet Arab friends, and she learned Hebrew and got to learn Israeli friends, and we both lived like on different sides of that, different parts of that country, and the languages we learned shaped the people we met, the views and perspectives we got, and the friends we made, of course. And now we are both colleagues and have different views on the same issue, the same region that we've learned to love, and we're happy to have you here. And so we do this moderation together. And we have to say something in advance. We take him.
Yes, the play Yosef is going to present parts of with us. The play is something like an autofiction, I think. It is autobiographical and it is inspired by his own life, and it's still fictionalized. So more or less,
you can say 90% is
okay,
true.
so we simply talk and ask questions to Yosef Zweig as if everything was 100%. And if there is a rest which does not function in the one-to-one transference, let it be so. Keep it in mind that perhaps not everything is one-to-one, but we just hear you, what you say in answer to our questions, and we ask as if everything were 100%,
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. No, I can react to that afterwards. If it's not really true, I can tell you also where the inspiration is from. I mean, like, there's a lot of scenes which are like dramaturgically or artistically. Sometimes I can talk about many people that I combine to one person, because I think for the audience would be too complicated to go and see, okay, this person is here, this person is here, this person. So I combine them sometimes to one person. Still the stories are true, but just artistically it makes more sense sometimes to do that.
Thank you so much.
And before we're going to see a small first part, I wanted to ask you, what was your need? What drove you to arrange that play? What was your intention, or what made it urgent to invent that program? Because it's all invented by you, right?
Yeah. The play is called Between the River and the Sea, and after October 7th and the war, the last war in Gaza, I didn't talk so much about what's going on. I felt that my voice is silenced. People who, let's say, want peace are not the people who are in the front, and just angry people, angry voices. And after a year and a half, which I got also divorced and had many issues, family issues, friendship issues, and I missed theater also. My best friend Isabella Zedlak, she's Austrian, but she knows me for a long time, and she was always interested about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. She started having conversations with me, and then we said, okay, these things that you are telling me, maybe you can tell the audience. Mm-hmm. And what I said is basically life stories, things that I suffered. For example, friends who left me from both sides because my idea about what's going on, or my stand was in between. Those two narratives, in between those two nations, those two voices, they couldn't stand that. So one of the prices I pay is few of my best friends just didn't talk to me anymore. So we decided to do a play about my life stories, also in a humble way, saying, I'm not going to tell you what you should say, who should you fight for, and what is my position, political position, because everybody's saying that. I just want to tell you my life stories and to show you how I kind of managed to live in between those. And if I did it, I think everybody could do it. And that's the kind of the purpose of the play, of the show itself, especially in these times where everything is so violent and hard. And also I wanted to do it a little bit in a comic way, mm-hmm. which is very hard to do today. But if I approach my life, so I can make fun of myself, and it's fine. So that was the aim of doing it in the end.
That was also to make you even more curious now, because now we really want to see a first part.
It's kind of the first scene. It's not exactly the first scene, but it's mm-hmm. it's the beginning of the play. Mm-hmm. I am an average Palestinian Israeli man who lives in Berlin. A divorced Palestinian man, you can say. And before I start my day, I like to enjoy a quiet moment with my morning cappuccino. I prepare it with my Sage espresso machine. I don't know if you know it. I bought it in Sell Yourself Berlin. It was actually cheap. And then I like to do my morning usual exercise, 25 minutes on Asana Rebel. It's a beautiful app. And I finished with a 5-minute mindfulness practice. But this morning, my 5-year-old daughter wakes me up early. Baba, where are my strawberry socks? Toot, habibti, toot. No, I'm talking about my strawberry socks. Yes, strawberry in Arabic is toot, also in Hebrew. We learned that yesterday. I scroll through the news. The Yemenis throw rockets on Tel Aviv, but not on Haifa, where my sister lives. Israel bombed Syria. They don't say they did, but it's them. Pro-Palestinian demonstrations in London. Pro-Israeli demonstrations in New York. Should students be allowed to wear a kafia at schools in Berlin? Hello. דקה שוי. אהוב שלי, דבר עם אחותך, היא חייבת לי... Talk to your sister, she has to dress up to כיתה. הלו. חביבתי, it's my sister. لا, البنت عم بتجنني. I don't know how you handle 3 little ones. Did you have rockets tonight? So you slept good. Yeah, she's coming to pick her up tomorrow. Yeah, I miss her when she's not here. Hey, when رايحة? أهוב שלי, דבר איתה, היא חייבת לי... She has to dress up. طيب حبيبتي, بحكي معك بعدين. لا, I have to go. يلا, bye. So yeah, I haven't drank my coffee yet. I need to prepare my daughter to dress her up for Kita, and I have to prepare sandwiches for my 15-year-old son for school, and I have this important meeting with my divorce lawyer, Dr. Leonie Asche-Köpfel, I think her name is. She's very good. Yeah, so... Yeah, my wife apparently had enough of me, of the relationship, of Berlin. She didn't really connect with the people and the cold, not the cold weather, the cold people, but also the weather, you know what I mean? She wants to go back to a place where people flirt with her on the street. Yeah, and I get that. I totally get that. I mean, I don't know how many years I'm living here in Berlin. I still don't understand why people here don't flirt. Really? What's wrong with you? I mean, people here go to sex-positive parties, naked swimming, but looking into a stranger's eyes is too intimate. Yeah, so I'm getting a divorce for the second time from my second wife, and she's a Jew too, like my ex-ex, the other mother of my other child. Anyway, it's complicated. So yeah, but now she wants to go back to Israel. Yeah, and take our daughter with her to Israel. Seriously, that's the best place you choose to raise our kid. Our mixed Arab, Palestinian, Jewish, Israeli kid? No, that's totally not up for debate. And that's why I'm going to have this meeting with this lawyer, Dr. Leonie Asher-Kopfel, and she's going to help me to prevent this from happening. Yeah. It's very easy, and I know we're going to win this. My daughter will grow up here with her family in Berlin, with her father and her brother from another Jewish mother. Yeah, we're a completely normal family. An Arab, Palestinian, Jewish, Israeli, Austrian, Romanian, Christian family. And we belong to Berlin. Every time I take my daughter to Kita, I feel that we belong to Berlin. And she runs happily into her crowd of open-minded international mini Berliners. And they don't care about identity like family concepts, gay, straight, triple parent, you name it. If you're a Jew, you're an Arab, both, who gives a fuck? I grew up in Haifa in Israel, and I went to a Jewish kindergarten back then. Yeah, Jewish kindergarten. Haifa is a beautiful city on the Mediterranean coast. And back then, Arabs and Jews used to live in peace, you know? I was born into the family of Munay Aboud and Sliman Swed as their first born son on a hot day, late June 1976. Every morning I woke up into the smell of my father's homemade pita bread and my mother's singing songs of Abdel Halim Hafiz. أهواك وأتمنى لو أنساك. Well, not every morning. Usually I ate sweet American bread with Nutella. Anyway, at one point, my parents earned enough money to live uptown with some of the more wealthy people, which by chance were also Jewish. Just to be clear, most of the Jews in Israel are not that rich. I don't want to stimulate any anti-Semitic cultural heritage here.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to ask you concerning the wonderful Berlin kindergarten experience. It sounds like an ideal kindergarten, international, wonderful mini Berliners who don't care. So what's your own kindergarten experience in Haifa?
Well, my own experience was, it's also in the show, because we were in a Jewish kindergarten. I was in Jewish kindergarten because we were in a Jewish neighborhood, so my parents were kind of lazy and they sent me to a Jewish kindergarten. It was very close. And yeah, I felt everything was the same, but suddenly one day a boy named Avi called me a stinky Arab in Hebrew. And it was very weird for me because I not the stinky was like the Arab part was weird because, you know, a 4-year-old kid doesn't know what an Arab is. I don't think he knew what a Jewish is also. And from that point, I remember that point, which was very defined my identity because everything was connected to this new fact. Because like if a kid in the Kita didn't want to play with me, I thought it was because I'm an Arab. If the teacher was strict with me, it's because I'm an Arab. And when I grew up, everything, like if I was hitting on a Jewish girl, if she didn't answer or she didn't want me, oh, it's because I'm an Arab. If I'm treated badly, it's because I'm an Arab. Everything was connected to this fact. And when I was in Tel Aviv, finally, I went to Tel Aviv to study theater. Suddenly I started to suspect if really everything was connected to this, or because I'm shy, or because sometimes I wasn't treating someone as I should, or just because they weren't interested. But for me it was, oh, everything, it's because I'm an Arab, because I'm an Arab. And when I grew up, this Avi person in the Kita was a big devil in my mind. But when I grew up and I understood that he came from a very abusive family. So my friend reminded me that he used to laugh at everyone. Like if a kid was fat, he used to laugh at him. If he had glasses, he laughed at him. And also me, because I'm an Arab. So this connected to me of him being racist, a kid racist, because I'm an Arab, suddenly wasn't connected at all. He just had hard life, and he had to, you know, to kick someone's ass just because he had a tough life. And suddenly things started to shape differently in my mind, that not everything is connected, and also that everybody's racist. Not, for me, I was, you can say lucky or unlucky, it doesn't matter, but I was in a Jewish kindergarten, and of course, you know, if it was the opposite, it would be the same. An Arab kid was a shitty kid would, you know, laugh about a Jewish kid. And if I'm here in Germany, it would happen the same with I don't know who. So it's kind of a human nature in the end, I understood. But it did kept me, like, in my life, I had this separation of being a Jewish, being an Arab. What's the situation here? What is happening? So yeah.
Thank you so much.
And then when you're talking about that kindergarten, that you like it in Berlin, that people just don't care about family concepts, where people come from and what languages they speak, then as somebody working in interfaith dialogue, I sometimes take care that all the feasts are celebrated, or give hints on how every religion could be taken care of.
Yeah.
But that sounds a bit like that would shape identity more, because then you would say, oh, this is my feast and this is their feast, or so.
My issue with this is, first of all, when I came to Berlin, for me 2 years was like falling in love. It's like when you fall in love, they say there's a chemical called love in your brain. It survives for a year until 4 years. For me, it always was 2 years. But 2 years I had, 2 years I had fallen in love in Berlin, and then suddenly, not suddenly, but slowly, I saw kind of this truth was revealed to me. Not everything is so great. This international beauty is beautiful. I love it, but you know, I sent my son to be honest. I sent myself to a private school. It's the BMS here. You have to pay money to be to be very international and very open-minded. A lot of schools are not like that. That's why I say I'm a privileged Palestinian man, and not say, like, you know. So it doesn't happen everywhere, and I think still I'm not against identity. I think identity is very important. What happened to me is I faced identity in a very early age, and I had to deal with it when I was 4 years old. I wish for my kids, and that's what I say in the play, that they will have to deal with it, but later on in their lives. Not like me, because everything was connected, as I said, to me being an Arab all my life, from being 4 years old. And I don't think this is something in this, I will show it later in another scene. I don't think, for me, it's something that I wish for my kids to deal with all the time. Like, my son has to deal with his identity, with his mixed identity, which is Jewish, Arabic, Christian, Palestinian, Israeli, everything. He started to deal with it only half a year ago. I mean, sorry, a year when October 7th happened. And then he started asking questions, and then he started dealing. And he didn't care. Like, he didn't care about, it didn't come to him as a surprise. He knew it, but he didn't know what does it mean. He didn't care what it meant. And I love it.
So it's a privilege not to have to deal with that.
All the time. Mm-hmm. It's important. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, also me, they ask me, once they used to say I have a problem with my identity. Today I said I'm privileged to have many identities, and they ask me, so what is your identity? And when I answer, it's like, it's who's asking. It depends who's asking. Because if somebody is hating my Palestinian identity, then I would tell him, first of all, I'm Palestinian, because I wanna, you know. And but if a taxi driver in Berlin, because it happens a lot, suddenly takes me and you see, oh, I see that your name is Yusuf. Why are you Yusuf? Oh, because I'm a Palestinian, you know. Oh, yeah, you're a Palestinian too. Let's talk in Arabic. Or if he has trouble with me being an Israeli, I would tell, first of all, I'm Israeli. Because, oh, what's the problem? Let's talk about it, you know. Or sometimes I don't have the power to deal with those politics issues, so I'm kind of, yeah, whatever. Do you want me to be the Arab now? I will be the Arab. Just shut up and let me, I don't know, rest for a bit. So it depends always.
Mm-hmm. Well, we knew what you were going to. We watched the play before, and for this play, part of flirting, we had a long conversation, Gesine and me, because I thought, well, people don't flirt here. I flirt all the time. And then Gesine said, maybe that's because you're Catholic. And I thought, well, I don't know, but maybe there's a difference. But I wanted to add that, well, as having lived in the Near East, I learned there not to watch or not to look into another man's eyes. Yeah. So it's maybe the racism I have in my mind that when I see someone who looks like he could be from Near East, I don't look at his eyes. Well, I sometimes do, of course, but that's something I've learned there, that if you do it, that you could be asked, are you Russian? But it's clearly obvious. So it's the other way around, actually.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I have to tell you, I have German friends, female friends, and they always complain about men that they don't flirt with them. And then I see them and I said, no, but you also don't flirt. That's not true. Like, it's not a man issue. I have to say.
This is something to test next weeks, next days, and not tonight.
But still, I have a more fundamental question concerning women. I also very much enjoyed seeing your play in the Gorky Theatre, and there was this wonderful scene with you and your father, and I wondered what your mother would have said. Can you get your mother? Your father is always in that play is very demanding. You have to take a stand and so on. Yeah. Did your mother do the same, or did she not?
I think my father wasn't always like that. I think the last war in Gaza made him very pro-Palestinian. He didn't care about his Palestinian side. He told me that. He told me, listen, I don't care about my Palestinian, but now I feel I have to use this identity. And I interviewed him a lot, and of course, in the end, he has a character in the show pushing me not actually to take the Palestinian side, but taking a stand. Yeah. And my mother, no, she never had a political, I never knew what her political stand is. She was more the Christian side. She's the one who sent me to church. I had a religious period in my life from the age of 15 until 18, 19. I was going to church, and she pushed me to go to church, and I hated that in the beginning, and then I thanked her for that, because the religious phase in my life really saved me. Also from psychological point of view, I didn't feel loved until the age of 15, and then suddenly the church, oh, we love everybody, and God is love, and I felt hugged by everyone, and it was amazing and beautiful. And my mother is there, but also she hated the church that I went to because for her it was too open, and and she's very strict. And also she's more into, she hated also having Jewish girlfriends, which was very, very hard for her. My father didn't care about that because he took responsibility. He said to me, like, you know, I sent you to Jewish schools, so of course you're gonna have Jewish girlfriends. It makes sense. So he took responsibility for that. But my mother couldn't. Like, even when I got married for the first time, she wanted to come to the wedding. She had a dress. She went to the hairdresser also, but she got sick, and I knew that she really got sick. But it was, of course, she couldn't handle it. So I think her stand is more the religious way of living my life. Should I baptize my children, or shouldn't I? Should marry a Christian woman. If she's not Christian, she should be Christian. She didn't care so much about politics. Like, she didn't.
Interesting. Thank you so much for completing the picture.
There's something from the beginning of the play we just heard which was really striking, that phone call, that everything is at the same time. Like, you got the news, the different news, the news from Israel, and you got the news also from Berlin, and you're talking two different languages on the phone, or like on the phone and in the room and with the children, and it really struck me that like everything is at the same time, like the big politics, the personal problems, and the socks, and the breakfast, and like I think this is something many people have to deal with, that you are in a meeting or do your important work, and then you have at the same time messages from your beloved ones from far away, and I guess I know this is something really hard to live.
Yeah. And you think it's going to finish, and then you have another war, and then you can finish, and then you have the war inside, which not inside your personal war, which was my divorce, which is actually the play is around the divorce. It's not a political thing. It's a divorce, and by chance my ex is Jewish, but it's about this. It's like, oh, I need to deal with this war, and I need to deal with the identity. I need to deal, but in the end, what really matters is the divorce that I'm dealing with right now, which is I'm heartbroken, but everything else is also breaks your heart. I mean, sometimes, you know, I'm living far away from my family, and my sister is also married to a Jewish guy, and she has 3 kids, and she's confused. I see she lives in Haifa, and she, you know, lately Haifa was bombed also, and she's afraid, but at the same time she doesn't want to run away like me. She said, my family is here, my friends are here, where would I go now? Like, to Germany, what do I have there? Nothing. So we feel like she prefers to die there than living somewhere else, and you hear that every morning, and it's not easy, but
no, but
that's what it is.
You have to make the bread for the school.
Yeah. You have to keep living.
Maybe this would be the time to see the second part, to get more into and to have more to, because we know more than you do already, because we have seen it also, to make it easier for you to understand what we're going to be talking about.
So first of all, what I like to take my daughter to her kita, because afterwards it's the best time of the day. I have an hour, quiet hour, which I can drink my flat white coffee in this white coffee place in Mitte. I don't prefer to sit in an Arab shisha bar in Neukölln. It's not that I don't like Arab stores. I love Arab stores. I mean, like, the vegetables there are amazing and fresh, and you can grab as many plastic bags as you want without giving looks from this bio-fascists. I can wrap up every single cucumber in its own plastic bag, and the people will still be nice to me. يعطيك العافية حبيبي. الله يعافيك الله يعافيك. شو أخبارك؟ والله زفت نشكر الله. I miss the Arabic language. I miss it. It's delicious. It's tasty. I feel the language of my heritage. And still, I prefer to sit in a hipster cafe with those internationals sitting side by side with their Apple devices, and young baristas serving you overpriced coffee, speaking half English, half B1 German. 1 flight coffee and this €8 cinnamon roll with cream on top. Yeah. No Hafer. Normale Milch. Kuh. Ja. Ja. Mit Karte bitte. Danke. Ich muss gehen to the bathroom. Einen Moment. Ja. I love it. This is my way to feel that I belong. Somebody put a Free Palestine sticker on the wall, and somebody else added from Hamas. Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about the war. I don't want to talk about October 7th. I know that people love to talk about it. You can see it everywhere, also in restrooms. Oh my God, my father is here. What do you want? Yusuf, لازم تاخد موقف حبيبي. You have to take a stand. Really, now, in the toilet. Yusuf, you have to understand something. What? What do you want me to understand? You have to acknowledge the fact that you are part of this issue. لازم تاخد موقف حبيبي. You have to take a stand. At least give us a hint of what you stand for. What do I stand for? Well, oh my God, now my son is here too. What do you want? Well, I also want to know. What do you want to know? Well, Abba, what do you stand for? What do I stand for? Well, I'm pro-life. Oh no, now you make me sound like an evangelist who's against the right of abortion. Sorry, I love abortion. I mean, I'm for abortion, for women to do it if they want to. It's their body, it's your life, it's your choice. I don't have an idea, whatever. Now, come on, shut up and let me pee in peace, please. Yeah. And here we are, 3 generations, taking a stand to pee. The proud Palestinian who ran away to Canada, and the young Berliner who was growing up to be a citizen of the world, and the 2 times divorced Palestinian Israeli stuck in the middle. Yeah, take a stand. Take a stand. That's exactly what I don't want my daughter to grow up in Israel. So she doesn't need to take a stand, not on her age. I already managed to keep away my son from that. Yeah, last week they they learned about the Third Reich at school, and he asked his mother, my ex, the other, anyway, he asks her, the Nazis, they killed the Jews because they were anti what? He's 15 years old, he's half Jewish, and he can't remember the word anti-Semitic. And that makes me so proud. Really, I think his mother and I did a great job. He grew up without the need to deal with this shit. I mean, he can enjoy his life here in Berlin with his Iranian, Russian, German, Austrian friends. The only differences they have is basically the languages they speak, or maybe the smell at their parents' kitchen, maybe the music they listen to. Not even the music. They all listen to the same things. They watch Arcane, play Fortnite. And I remember after October 7th, my son got a phone call from a new friend he got to know in Tel Aviv. Her name is Mia, she's 2 years older than him, and he got to know her at a family visit in Israel. And this Mia, I'm sure she has a big crush on him. Hey, ma kore? Ize chamud. You know that they canceled school tomorrow here because of bomb alerts. Do you have schools in Berlin? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we do have school. That's so scary. I hope you don't have Arabs at your school. I don't remember if we have. Actually, you're an Arab. True. I forgot. What? What do you mean you're an Arab but you're Israeli? Yeah. I am Israeli. And you're also Palestinian. Yeah, I'm a Palestinian too. What? What do you mean Palestinian? Are you Hamas? Abba, are we Hamas? Are you crazy? Wait, what do you mean Hamas? But you're not really a Palestinian. No, I am Palestinian. I'm also Israeli and Jewish and Arab and what else am I, Abba? Well, you're beautiful and talented. Abba, you're embarrassing me. Well, you have Christian roots and you're also Austrian. What? Why are you Austrian? Abba, why are we Austrian? Well, because of Hitler. What? Well, you have Holocaust survivors in your family. Yeah, true. Wait, on which side are you? Abba, on which side are we? Well, you tell me, my son. I don't know, I'm for the good and the strong. Well, you have to decide, the good or the strong. It's not always the same side. Well, on which side are you, Abba? Well, I'm for the, weak and the poor, like Jesus. So who are the weak and the poor? Well, once it was the Jews, then the Palestinians, and now it's everyone. And I'm everyone. Yeah, exactly. Poor you. You know that if you live now in the occupied territories, the Zionists will settle in your land and Hamas would slaughter you. Hey, what's going on? Are you still there? Yeah, I'll get back to you. So, Abba, I'm actually lucky not to live there. Well, half lucky, because you know, here they will hate you because you're Jewish and fear you because you're an Arab. Yeah, but forget about that. Call her back, you know, she's totally into you. Abba, you're embarrassing me.
So thank you again so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it seemed to me at the beginning like Berlin is a place where no position is needed in the first row, but then there's a sticker or in certain communities, as you just said it, with the taxi driver, and then people that where you have to take a stand, or that triggers you to take a stand, or people ask you to take a stand. So
yeah, I think that what is revealed in the show, that this complaint about myself in the end, that I don't take a stand, I don't take a stand, that my friends are telling me, my family is telling me, but in the end also not taking a stand, which is not true. You always take a stand. Also, without saying what you want, is also a stand that you take for yourself. You're deciding not to do it. In the end, I think what my friend and my director and the co-writer of the play told me, listen, the way you live your life is already a stand that you're taking. I mean, marrying 2 Jewish women and having mixed kids, choosing to grow them up not in Israel, that they grow up here. My life choices is the stand that I'm taking. Believing that still there is hope, that people should get together. Making love to a Jewish woman, that is a stand that I take. Not concerning specifically to this war or whatever, but it concerns everything that I do in my life, I think. That's the point of it. I don't know, living in Berlin, I think Berlin is not really the answer. I don't think that is. I think Germany in general, it is in a complex place. I don't want to get into it, but it is a complex place. A very interesting one, I have to say. Also, you know, when I talk to a crowd, which is some of them pro-Palestinian, some of them is pro-Israeli. If they are not Palestinians or Israelis, I have a question mark. Why are they pro-Palestinians? Why are they pro-Israelis if they're not Israelis? Or why are they choosing this side? Do they really check what's going on? Do they really know the complexity of the situation? Do they love my side because they hate the other side, or just because they think there is injustice? So it is. I don't think Berlin is the answer. I think there is something beautiful, that it's a bubble here that's going on. That back then Tel Aviv was a bubble for me also. Being like the city of peace and arts, and now I think it's not anymore. But for me, I needed to find the next bubble, which was Berlin. I don't know if it still is, but part of it is, I think.
Yes. Thank you so much for this. I would like to ask one question which somehow addresses this topic, why Berlin is not the answer. It is about remembering and forgetting. I mean, we are always living under the imperative never to forget. And what you are trying to teach your children, if I get you right, is exactly this. First of all, to forget about all the identities.
Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts about forgetting and remembering?
I don't think it's not exactly forgetting your identity. I think it's like we have many identities. I'm a father, I'm an actor, I'm a director, I am a man, which could be a very it's a big issue now, you know, just being a man so we have many identities. Putting a light only on specific part of my identity, this is the issue. This is what I suffered in my life, and I made good out of it, but I don't think this is the way to live. I think that my kids should have their national identity. It should be part of them, but it should be something like, okay, I'm an Arab. Oh, you listen to Arabic music? Yes. Oh, I know this song, you know, and I love the Arabic language. I know some sentences. This should be like the beauty of the identity, not always, oh, because you're like that, I hate you because you're different, and now you have to defend yourself. Because my theory in life, what I saw lately, what a lot of people are proud with their identity. I'm proud that I'm a woman. I'm proud that I'm Palestinian. I'm proud that I'm Israeli. I'm proud that I am, I don't know, Christian, whatever. And this, a lot of our pride is for something we didn't even choose. So you don't have nothing to be proud of. You didn't choose that. You think you chose it. You didn't. You were born into it. You are proud of it because somebody else is making you, somebody else is attacking this identity, and then you have to defend yourself. You don't need to be a proud Palestinian if nobody's attacking you. You don't need to be a proud woman if men aren't attacking you. You don't need to be, you know, also for gays doing this pride parade. It's pride because others don't accept us, so we have to be proud. This is the thing. And for me, I don't want to be always in the proud state, yes. Because then what I'm saying is I'm being attacked. So I'm trying to keep my children from defending themselves all the time with their identity. That's the issue.
Yes, I think, may I just, it reminds me very much of a passage in Toni Morrison's book Beloved, which is about the heritage of, or the legacy of slavery in America. And there's one person, one figure of the escaped slaves community called Baby Suggs, and she's always taking her crowd, her community, to a place in the woods and tries to teach them to dance and to love themselves. So this is something like which comes out of your play,
yeah,
to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also like what I understood as taking identity not as a burden.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It shouldn't be also always a defense mechanism. Your identity shouldn't be where you defend yourself. It's where you're rich. I think that's why a lot of times my son says, well, he says on the phone call also, because that's how I taught him. He said, I'm an Arab, I'm a Jew, I'm a Palestinian, I'm an Israeli, I'm everything. It's so amazing. And he's loving it. He's loving it that he has so many identities. At the same time, it means that he's nothing. Meaning nothing that, you know, when you put all the colors together, it's
nothing in 100%.
Yeah, it's everything together, which is, you know, and I love this.
But maybe
you can't when someone in front of you is everything, you can't be racist toward them because they don't. What are you? It's like give me something so I can hate you, and they don't, and that's the beauty out of it, I think.
And it maybe shows that it's an illusion to be something 100%, yeah. Which is not possible.
Yeah.
That brings me to another question. We've heard you've told that in the beginning that you had this experience between 15 and 18 as being a Christian, or as being taught in Christianity, and this. Is there anything you can connect with in Berlin, or is the Christianity in Berlin totally, is it like?
No, I don't. I don't know if I should get into it. My personal, I think Christianity, or let's say the church I was invited to be part of, really saved my life, because I really, as I said, needed love and affection, and to feel that I belong to something. And also there I started speaking Arabic much more, and reading Arabic, and singing at the choir of the church. It was beautiful, really. I learned so many, and the people there are very beautiful. I left church because something in the philosophy of me didn't accept religion in general. And I felt that my purpose in life is to, I don't want to belong to this church, because then I say, oh, there is one truth, and I don't believe in one truth. I think that the way to God or happiness or love is many ways, and I want to see them all.
It was too close.
That was it was too close for me, and I wanted to open. I kept the thing of God is love, and this is how I continued my life. This is the base that I learned at church, and I feel like every religion has this base, and if people are something bad in them, they will take religion and use it in a bad way, and good people will use it in a good way. And I thought that this is the basic of me. And when I get out of church, I didn't find my way back. I didn't like when I'm in Berlin, I don't look for the church or for Christian people. I really try to just meet people.
I can imagine it feels quite different, because
it is different. And I feel in Israel there was, or in Haifa, all the Christians are, even if they're not really religious, they still have a respect for their the religion. I think more like Muslims. I feel like Muslims also, when they're not Muslim, they won't say anything bad about their religion. And so also I think Christians in Haifa are the same. They could be secular, but still they will go in holidays to church, and they will bring their children, and they respect the, how do you say it, the cultural part of it, the habits, and I liked it too. I mean, this is the part I miss. I miss holidays. I miss those things, and I try to keep it with my family, at least the holidays, and going to church once in a while on Sundays. It's beautiful, but I didn't keep anything religious in my life, and I don't see it in Berlin so often. I'm not so much involved, let's see.
Yeah, no, not judging, just asking.
You end your play in the Gorki with this wonderful, really mind-blowing vision that your son wrote in a school, I think school essay or something, a vision for the Middle East. Could you tell us about this vision a little bit more, or just present it to us as you prefer?
I won't read it because it's the end of the show. I don't want to spoil. But there is actually the musician that I work with, his name is Tomer. He works with a lot of Arab musicians, because he has European passport, so he had the chance also to be in Lebanon and also Iran, and he went around the Middle East, and that's why also we chose him, because he has this beautiful meetings with everyone in the Middle East. And he started telling us, like, imagine if we can travel around the Middle East, like there's a train from Tel Aviv to Lebanon, and to Beirut, and from Beirut to Jerusalem, and then you can go to Alexandria, and said, oh, my son had this. And he reminded me that my son wrote it once, and we came back, and of course we changed it a bit, but this beautiful, just imagining that, just to travel around like you travel in Europe, that the same thing could happen in the Middle East. And not just wars, no borders in the end. Yeah, that you can travel, and nobody suspects you, and it's fine. You can be Jewish, you can be Arab, you can be Turkish, or whatever your religion is. And you go to a festival here, and you go to a parade here, and you dance, and then you take your board, the surfing board, to Gaza and surf there on the waves, and it's this feel of freedom that we wish. I think everybody wishes for, the simple people that wishes that it will happen finally, and I think it will. But you need people to dream about it for it to happen. And I think what people are not capable to do right now, because everything feels horrible, is to dream that it could happen.
Thank you so much. With this, I would like to open the floor for questions from the audience. If
we didn't announce that before, so maybe people need 1 more minute to reflect.
So there's no coercion, no pulling. But if you have questions after 1 or 2 minutes or so, feel free to ask them. Amir will bring you a microphone.
I can tell in the meantime, the show is now we perform it mostly in Maxim Gorky Theater. Now the theater will go on a summer vacation, so the show will come back in September. And whoever wants to see it, it's in a studio which contains only 100 people, so the tickets sells very fast. We wish to have more opportunities to show it, but just to let you know that if you want to go, it's better that you check as fast as you can. And we have a festival in Graz. We're going to perform in the end of October, and yeah.
And I wanted to add that you said you need it needs courage to dream or to have the hope, but to already have it in words or to play it on the stage is maybe a first step. So
to say it out loud,
yeah.
in a way.
So at the beginning, because I see there's no hand already, so I have another question. At the beginning, I thought, is it? Maybe you already answered it. It's not easier to take no stand, then it's not a part of weakness, or not taking a stand is also taking a stand. Like,
I think the thing is, you should check with yourself. What when you say you're not taking a stand, what does it mean? Is it so? When I said I'm not taking a stand, meant I'm not going to be now a pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli. What I see outside is pro-Israeli, pro-Palestinian. Also, when I go on social media and I start to follow only what people think is the right thing, then whatever I get is my idea. There's no new ideas or no. If you're an Israeli and you're a pro-Israeli and you're going to see on your social media only pro-Israeli things, you're not going to see what's going on in Gaza, you're not going to see what's going on in Iran, you're just going to see what you think is right. And that shuts people down, off. And to choose or to be somewhere in the middle, to see this side, and then have your own opinion about it, that's the important thing. Because people are getting just what they want lately, and that's separating people a lot. And when I stand, my stand is in the middle. I still think that in the end, when wars are gonna be finished, and they're gonna end, somebody has to think, okay, what's the next step? And for me, it's like, okay, I'm seeing these wars like over again. Now it's the most horrible thing, but in the end, you're gonna have to find a solution. I mean, like, somebody has to. And
still, by not taking a stand, you lose friends.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not easy. It's still.
Yeah.
It still costs you something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just to
not for me. I mean,
that.
like, I see that a lot of people around me are losing a lot of friends because they're not so specific about their stand. Yeah.
Your question.
That was really impressive. It was that kind of one-man show is something I did in high school quite a bit, but I never got that good. So it was very gratifying to see someone who could actually do it. And my question is, I thought your reflections on identity were very, very interesting, and the idea of identity as something that is about being oppressed in some way, or this antagonizing element to it. Yeah. But maybe identity is also something more innate to human nature, right? So, of course, this antagonism may be as well, right? Maybe that folds in nicely, but in any case, I feel like identity is something that, just like you said, is also something nice to experience, right? And you want your children to experience that, just, in a more reflected manner. Yeah. So, where do you think that fits in? Where is the healthy boundary of identity? Because identity is always grouped, and you can do You can do a lot of evil unto groups, right? And that poisons the idea, right?
Well, it depends. You know, I'm not against. Again, I'm not against identity. Like, for example, I will give you an example. Yesterday called me, text me someone. What's her name? Tehila, I think. She's a religious Jew, and she has a group in Berlin called Zusammen. They gather Jewish people together, and they make, I don't know, Friday nights together. People, Jews who don't have a home, they serve their community. And she called me to say, listen, we're gathering a group, and maybe because you're an actor or a director and a theater person, maybe we can come and do improvisation for the group. And she calls me. I mean, like, I'm not a Jew, but this open-mindedness that me having my Jewish identity, serving my Jewish community, it doesn't mean that I'm not open to other communities and not offering other people to come inside and treating them as equals. The thing is, like you said, in humanity, we want to, this is our side, where we are the chosen people, or we are the Christians, or we are the Muslims. God chose us and not them, or whatever, like people who, we were born to the truth, we were born, this is our country, we are the and when you grow up, and not just in one place, and that's why I think people should travel a lot and see many places. You think you understand that you're just a human being that want to be connected to some group, just not to feel lonely in the world. You want to have a family, you want to have a wife, kids, whatever makes you feel connected. And this identity makes you feel connected. But if you are connected to a group, it doesn't mean that the other group is you're better than the other group, or the other group is your enemy. That's the thing, that when we connect to identity, what does it mean about the other? And we always get to the point that we hate the other. We always think that we are better, that we are, and that's the conflict in identity. I truly believe that we need this identity. I needed my Christian identity for a period of time. I see my mother, she totally needs her Christian identity. I think if she didn't have it, she would be collapsing, because her life was ruined because of personal issues, which I won't get into it. I think her Christian identity is very important to her, and I can't imagine somebody taking it away from her. I think also, every country, it's nice to raise the flag, it's nice to have your own anthem, it's nice things, but when it's just in nice things, having holidays, then it's good. But I feel that when it separates us, then I want to break it. I have this violent urge to break it, and it's like, I don't care anymore. If it separates you from me, then I don't want it, But I'm trying to find somewhere the balance in there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Your question.
Yes. I am trying to understand the different possibility to be a Palestinian Israeli or Israeli Palestinian, and could you give us the possibilities? Because I think, are there some Palestinian Israeli fighting the IDF against Hamas and against Palestine, and perhaps your position, yes, you grew up profiting is not the right word, taking advantage of the democracy, free sexuality, culture, good education, and in Israel, so yes, and the questions that I have about all the possibility to be a Palestinian in Israel is, is it possible also at this time, now during the war, to be a Palestinian in Israel and to be for Palestinian? Or is it possible to think free as a Palestinian in Israel? Or not every political position is... it's a big democracy. Israel is a big democracy, but is there a repression, or is it more dangerous for Palestinian Israeli to think to be too much on the side of Palestinian or not? Well, I would like to learn more. This is my first question. And the other one is a question, perhaps also an idea, because when you said you have a lot of identities, I thought it's typically like an actor. Yeah, an actor, he doesn't know who he is. So it's perfect for you, isn't it? So it's two questions, yeah?
Yeah. Well, and this subject, I'll tell you my experience. I don't know if the truth. I can tell you my experience. First of all, whoever don't know, being a Palestinian is complicated because you have many kinds of Palestinians. I explained it also very shortly in the play. You have, of course, Palestinians in the West Bank, which they don't have Israeli IDs. They used to have live under Israeli military law. Now part of them do, part of them not. It's very complicated there, and you have also the Palestinian East Jerusalem, which have permanent residency. They're not Israeli citizens because it's also complicated. They used to belong to Jordan before '67. And it's also complicated there. And you have the Palestinians like me who are Palestinian Israelis, which a lot of Israelis don't like to call us Palestinians because it's intimidating for them. Or Arab Israelis, you can call us, many call us Arabs of 48. So we enjoy kind of, we enjoy the democracy, we can vote to Israeli elections, we can also be voted. We fight for equal rights. We don't have a lot of, like, not everything is equal for us. For example, there wasn't any new Arab city in Israel, I don't know how many years, like for ages. So it's not equal rights, but we have a lot of rights. Like, compare us to the Palestinians who live in the occupied territories in the West Bank, it's completely different. We also feel very ashamed to have equal rights in front of the Palestinians who live there. So a lot of times we feel in the middle, like we feel guilty towards the Palestinians there, and we feel that we also we have to fight against the Jewish Israelis for having equal rights, because we still want to live in Israel as Israelis. So we're kind of there in the middle. We have conflict in that. I'm trying to remember your question, the second part of your question.
Being an actor.
No, but you had... the freedom.
Yeah.
So today, it's not just for, of course, for the Palestinian Israelis, it's very complicated because nobody should say anything. Nobody should say anything. If you say something, they will arrest you. I didn't want to believe it, but it happens. And it happens also to a lot of Jewish friends, not this, but it happens to Jewish friends of mine who say something on social media. I just got a message from an actress who said something, and she is attacked. And not physically, but people are sending her messages, hate messages to her parents. They got phone number of her parents, and she just said something about the war, that it's horrible, and a lot of babies, Palestinian babies, are dying, and people couldn't accept that. So things are escalating in Israel a lot. People are getting crazy. I don't know what's going on there. I'm really, but for sure, Arabs, Israelis, or Palestinian Israelis are now, taking a couple of steps back. They're not saying anything. I know actors, Arab actors, are friends of mine that want to succeed. They got a role here, they got a role there, and they are being interviewed. Newspaper wants to give them first, page, and they don't want to be interviewed because they know they're going to fool them. They're going to ask them something about politics, and they're going to say something that maybe people won't like. Even if they say something that people like, which I know it from the past, in the Israeli newspaper, they will have headlines of, like, for example, me, I had headlines, Yusuf doesn't want to, will never want his kids to grow up in Israel, which is something that I say now. But back then I didn't say that. They just quote me about something I didn't say. And people didn't read what I meant and why, and they just see the headlines and they just hate you for that. And so, yeah, they can't say anything. They will arrest them, and then they will free them because they have no, power in the end. But they have the right to arrest them. And I have some friends who got arrested, and they freed them. But it's humiliating. It's not. Yeah, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It's yeah. I mean, you can see who's the head of the police, and you understand why it's happening.
We have another question.
You want to say something about the different identities and the author?
Well, yeah, you're right.
And an actor? Right.
No.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay, then thank you. Your question.
Yeah, a very simple question concerning your show here in the Gorky Theater. I would be interested in if you know how the audience is put together. If there are people from the different sides, from the Palestinian side, from the Israeli side. This evening we have a very homogeneous audience, I think, and I would be interested in if you get any reactions from the people, if your show weakens positions, is a starting point for discussions, is a possibility to get into touch with each other, and if you get any reactions from
I'll tell you the truth. The first show, the premiere, was the most incredible one because there was a Palestinian guy from Gaza and there was another Israeli friend of his, which I was like, wow. And there was a girl from Iranian woman and there was 2 Syrian, one of them I know. And of course, there was also people from all around the world, but these Mediterraneans were together and they were laughing and crying at the same time. And I was like, wow. And I got excited, I have to say. It's not that I'm expecting everybody to agree. I don't think there's something that you can't agree, because I know I had a pro-Palestinian, not a Palestinian actor that came to my show, and he came to me in the end and he was like a bit confused, not confused, but he didn't know what to say. He said, yes, Yusuf, this is your private life, what can I say? I can't. But, you know, I think that you should say something. You should take a more precise stand. He wanted me like to be more pro-Palestinian, of course. And it was hard for him that I didn't take it, because for him it's a chance to say something on stage. And I told him, you know, this is my life. This is what I can say, and I totally respect your point of view. So do your own show. You know, this is really. I'm not cynical. It was like, and I say it in the beginning of the show. I think that if you want to protest during my show, you can do it. It doesn't matter what you say. You know, do it. Just do it. And I feel it. But the issues that I'm. Like, I had a lot of Israelis, I didn't have enough Palestinians coming to my show. And I don't know how to approach Palestinian communities because I'm not so much involved. But the aim is to get there, the aim is to bring more Palestinians. For me, it's more Israeli Jews, I mean, like not Israeli Arabs. It's more easy to get to Israeli communities because I'm not more involved there, but Palestinian communities, it's more hard because the Palestinian communities in Berlin they came here long time ago, so I'm not so much involved. I'm not so much in contact with those communities, but I would love everybody to come. But I'm just a PR thing to do to bring more diverse communities to this show, and I would love to hear more. I don't want people to agree. It's not the point. It's the point to see more reactions and to be inspired by them.
I have a last point here. What you do is you turn something from really grief or something really sad into laughter, right?
Yeah.
Like when there are things I take your question 1 second. Like maybe this is the first starting point from look on another way or behave another way to the things that happen to us, that all these things that are so sad that you give us the possibility to laugh together.
Yeah. I think I learned that mostly from my first wife, Yael Ronen, which maybe part of you know her, and she uses a lot of humor, also dark humor. I mean, like we did a play called Third Generation. It's about Jews, Palestinian, and Germans, and there's a lot of jokes about the Holocaust, which Germans, of course, have hard to laugh about, which is obvious. But she loves it that it's hard for Germans to laugh about, and so she makes more jokes, terrible jokes about the Holocaust, and I love it. And when you see, you know, people do jokes about the most horrible thing that happened to them, I feel envy. You know, I feel like, oh, I want to do that too. I wanna laugh about wars. I want to laugh because I think it's a human nature which is ridiculous, and in the end I want to laugh about it. I mean, I wouldn't laugh about it about someone who his brother just died. Of course not. You need distance from the events a bit. But yeah, for sure. I think also people, when they come, I don't want to go to a show which talk about the war in Gaza or October 7th. I don't want to go to a show like that. It's horrible. I see it in the news. I don't want. So when I go to a show and there is a different atmosphere and I can actually laugh, I'm allowed to laugh, then, you know, you open the heart, and then you can stick a dagger, or, you know, then you can say what you really want to say, or, you know, it's like, I'm not saying I think it's a joke. That's sure not. But I feel it's time to release a bit the tension and humor, of course. Yes, that's the way.
We have two last questions, and then we finish. Okay, you, and then the woman with the glasses.
Thank you. When you were referring to the multiple identities of your son, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, up to Austrian, one identity you were not referring to, the German, probably. Why did you leave this out?
It's a question. I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. I think because he's in Germany, so it's kind of an obvious thing, but it's a good question. I have to think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Thank you. It's like I need to think about it. So.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, I don't know. Wait. Yes.
When I say Austrian and saying German, it's like, for me, it's kind of saying the same thing. I know for Germans it's not. It's. I know it. I know I'm saying something that is wrong. But from the outside, it's like saying, you know, Lebanese and Syrian are the same thing, which is. Could be, but it's not. But it could be. They have similar accents. They kind of live together, but they could hate each other like hell, Syrians and Lebanese. But from the outside, it's kind of the same. So when he has an Austrian passport, I mean, because of the Holocaust and Holocaust survivors in his family. So he's Austrian, then saying another German. It's like I'm kind of saying the same thing in my mind, you know. That's the joke. But yeah, probably this is the reason. Sorry.
Hello. I want to say something and to hear your point of view of that. You were growing up as an Arab Christian in a Jewish education system. And part of what I see as a Jewish growing up in the Jewish system, that we were totally separated. Like I didn't know Palestinians until I came to Berlin to have Palestinians friends in Berlin. We lived apart. And from one hand, I understand the need of keeping the identity. From the other hand, I feel maybe it's part of the problem. And I would be interested to hear what do you have to say, or how you see it from...
I think the reason, and as you said, I studied in Jewish school. If I go even deeper into that, I was studying the Zionist history or the Jewish history, but it's more the Zionist. Like, I'm not saying it in a bad thing, meaning that Israel is a refugee place for Jews, especially European Jews, of course, because they were hated all over. But then you also add, oh, but there was nothing there. It was only desert. So where are the Arabs? There were no Arabs. Or, you know, we came and we saved the Arabs because we brought culture. And then you said, okay, and it's in you know, it's in the Jewish, not the Jewish, the Israeli books. But then, you know, then you go to the Palestinian, what is written in their books. What is their narrative? Their narrative is different. Their narrative, we were here and suddenly different people came and stole our land. And that's the thing why I call the piece Between the River and the Sea, because both has their own narrative and it's true from their eyes. And what you say, the bad thing about it is not telling the story, is not understanding that it's a different story. There is a different story at the other side. It's like also, you know, I don't know, we believe in Jesus, but if we just stick and we don't understand, okay, but you believe in how, oh, that's interesting. What is your story? Which story did you grow up in? And it's then you open your mind and then you understand, okay, we are humans, each one is but the problem, as you said, that there wasn't any meeting between those sides. And what I did in my life, which I'm now happy that I did, that I was a teacher in this association called Nitzanei Shalom, which organized meetings between Arabs and Jewish kids. And they not forced, but kind of, Arab kids could meet Jewish kids and say, oh, they're just kids, they just want to play with us. And just a small thing, and the other kids too, it's like, oh, you know, I met Arab kids, there wasn't any something bad about them. They're kids like us. They just learn different history and they say this is the story. We tell them this is our story. And the thing is, which Berlin experienced in their history, is the wall. And this is also a wall, a physical wall that that was built between Israel and Palestine, but also a wall that, okay, we have our identity and this is their identity. The problem is that people believe if I know your history, which is different from my history, if I knew your narrative, it says that my narrative is wrong. And that's the wrong way to look at it. It's to accept that you have your own story and to listen to that story and not feeling attacked. Because I know a lot of Israelis that it's hard for them to know that the Palestinians have their own Nakba. Nakba is what the Palestinians say, the Palestinian catastrophe in 1948, which I say in the play, the Jews won Israel and the Palestinians lost Palestine. So if I hear your narrative of the story, it means that you're against me. But it doesn't. We can meet somewhere because we can find some meeting point, and I do believe in that. I see Arabs and Jews living together. They live together in peace. They can have those two narratives living somehow together. And I listened to a podcast, and I welcome everyone to listen to it because it really helped me also to build the story. It's called Third Narrative, Unapologetic. It's two Palestinian Israelis who started a podcast from October 7th, trying to get, Jews and Arabs together, and they call it Third Narrative, meaning that you can find another story between those two stories that will put people together. And they show the horrible things that happened in October 7th, and they show the horrible things that happened in the Gaza war, and they're still insisting that we could live together. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
This is a perfect ending word. Thank you so much for giving us third ideas, third views and narratives and hope, and sharing your views with us, and thanking for being here on stage and also for being in Berlin.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me very much.
Yeah.
Noch was?